The Owls ran up a 23-point comeback rally in the second half against USC. It was a close one, but not close enough.
A close loss at the Liacouras Center and a big loss at the Link, as Temple football was crushed by the Cougars on Saturday. Check us out. Final show before fall break. OwlSports Update is live and it starts right now. Hello and welcome to a brand new edition of OwlSports Update. I'm Luke Milai, she's Lindsay Moppert, and our last show before Thanksgiving has a ton of news up and down the East Coast.
You're talking about our live report from South Carolina with the men's basketball team, which is where we start today. The Temple men's basketball team is in South Carolina to take part in the Shriners Children's Charleston Classic. The first round of games is set to take place at 4 p.m. It's a 3-game tournament, and it starts against the 3-0 Clemson Tigers. Win or lose, the Owls are guaranteed to play through the weekend. Temple will go on to play either Boise State or St. Bonaventure on Friday. And on Sunday, the Owls will then have a chance to face either Marquette, Ole Miss, Elon, or West Virginia. For Caliph Battle, the Clemson game pits him against his pre-college teammate, Amir Dawes.
It should be fun. Me and Al used to live together, actually. So we used to wake up to each other, actually. So it's like playing my brother. I mean, it should be fun. It's too bad we're out to beat them, but you know.
I mean, we already had a couple scrimmages on the road, so we already know what it's like. So we just try to lock in and just focus on what we're there for, most importantly.
You got to keep in mind, like, the guys that we're asking to help us win games, freshmen and sophomores, and they never really been in those situations before. So it's feel and see who's got it going and doing the things that we're asking them to do, and those might be the guys that get more minutes.
It's not easy playing 3 games in 4 days. This should be a great test for Aaron McKee's young team. To bring us up to date on the team's trip to South Carolina, we bring in Nate Stanley, who also made the trip to the Palmetto State. Hey, Nate.
Hey, what's up, Luke? Yeah, I am live in Charleston, South Carolina right now, where it is 75 and sunny. Luke, I know how much you love that beach weather, but I'm outside TD Arena right now, where the Owls are set to tip off against Clemson at 4:20 today. We will be bringing you updates as they have that. We saw the team coming in and out for their warm-up and their practice with some injury updates for you. Jeremiah Williams was seen in a boot. He also didn't change into any practice pennies or any warm-up clothes. So we are unsure about how he is going to play. He has been listed as a game-time decision. So still unsure about what minutes might look like for him, as he is the team's leading assister. They play against Clemson, who right now is at 3-0, and the Owls obviously at that 500 1-1 right now, coming off of that loss to USC. So it'll be interesting to see. This game is actually a rematch of the 2017 championship that Temple won, making them the 2017 champions of the Charleston Classic. So it'll be interesting to see how that rematch plays out, rather. But that's all for me from Charleston, South Carolina. I'm Nate Stanley. Luke and Lindsay, back to you.
Thank you for the insight, Nate. Now from one expert in South Carolina to 2 of our own just down the street.
Joining us live from inside the Liacouras Center, we have our very own Ray Dunn and Josh Safran ready to talk some basketball. Thanks for joining us, guys. Now looking to the start of the tournament, who should we be watching out for?
Thanks, Lindsay. Through 2 games, we've learned quite a bit about some of the key contributors on this year's team.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I haven't been this excited for this team since the first day I stepped on campus here. And today, both of us will be spotlighting guys coming off the bench.
Now, in a crowded backcourt, Ty Strickland is expected to be a spark plug off the bench. After an injury-plagued season last year, he has come back looking more confident and has secured a more consistent role in the rotation. Strickland is running the second unit, and his jumper looks much better. His role will be even more important this weekend as he may find himself in the starting lineup with starting point guard Jeremiah Williams dealing with an injury to his lower right leg.
Now, I want to talk about Zach Hicks because Zach Hicks is exactly what Temple basketball has been looking for. A local talent from Camden Catholic with a ton of length and knockdown shooting ability. Through the first 2 games, Hicks is shooting 50% from behind the arc. The best part about his shooting is the three-pointers have come when his teammates need them most in the second half. At 6'7", Temple fans can get used to number 24 rising up over defenders.
You can catch the pair of them on the floor against Clemson later today.
Yeah, and down in Charleston, all these teams I think are extremely even. I think we'll learn a lot about this Temple team this year. But for now, reporting from the Leah Center, he's Ray, I'm Josh. Luke and Lindsay, back to you guys.
Thanks, guys. And both Hicks and Strickland play a big role in the Owls' oh-so-close comeback against USC this past Saturday. Here is Temple's lead scorer for the second straight game, Caleb Battle, putting it up for 2 of his 26 total points. But it wasn't long after that, USC picked up a lead that they would build to 23 points coming out of the half. The Owls eventually responded and got it down to 4, but the game really just ran out of minutes for the Owls, falling to USC 76-71.
If 3 guests weren't enough, we've got another visitor, this time on the desk.
Joining us now to talk about the dynamic of the young and growing men's basketball team is OwlSports Update's Matt Rainier. Hey, Matt.
Thanks, guys. Chemistry is crucial for a team sport like basketball. However, it usually takes a couple of games for players to learn how to play together, and the men's basketball team is no exception to this.
It's often a challenge for a team to develop chemistry, and it's even more difficult to do so when you have so many new faces. And that is exactly the case for the men's basketball team, as nearly 50% of its rotation is made up of true freshmen.
It was kind of hard first coming here. You know, it's a different pace from when I played in high school.
Though the team is full of new and inexperienced faces, they are still looking to compete in the AAC. And to do that, they'll need to rely on their veteran and more experienced players as the team comes together as a cohesive unit.
And this includes Caleb Battle, who is averaging 24 points per game through Temple's first 2 games.
I haven't shown my full potential. I haven't put a whole game, whole 40 minutes together. Nobody here has put a whole 40 minutes together. I think when we do that and we do it all together as a group, that's going to be something special.
We're going to have to rely on others to pitch in a little bit more. So it's something I have to look at and work on a little bit.
Though many expect the team will need time to grow, the Owls have shown some promising signs with their young players, particularly with Zach Hicks, who hit several crucial shots that nearly brought the Owls back in their loss to USC.
I just want to know that every time he gives me an opportunity, I'm just going to go out there and make it to the best of my opportunity.
He's a gamer. He doesn't blink. He just plays the game. You know, you can looked in his eyes late, and he wanted the moment.
Hicks is just one example of this development, and with so many true freshmen, he will need company if they want to compete in the AAC.
The Owls showed resilience in their loss to USC as they nearly came back from a 23-point deficit, which is a real big positive for a team that's so young like this one.
Thanks so much for joining us, Matt.
Thanks for having me.
And now we turn the tables to the women.
The Owls were back at McGonigal Hall for a Wednesday night matchup with St. John's in their white threads. The Owls got out to a 10-point first quarter lead, behind 17 first half points from Mia Davis. Tiara East nails this three-pointer, which accounted for 3 of just 6 points from the Owls bench on the night. On the other side, St. John's had 5 players score in double figures, and the Red Storm ended the game on a 10-0 run, going on to win it. St. John's 76, Temple 67. Wednesday was a rough one, but Tanya Cardoza feels pretty good about the depth on her team this season. Joining us now to tell us more on Mia Davis's supporting cast is OwlSports Update's Max Gradzula over at the studio set. Hey, Max.
Thanks, Luke. Hey, it's no secret that the Owls struggled to find production from their role players last season, something that has changed, however, in Temple's opening games so far this year.
Last season, the Owls were the definition of average. 22 games with 11 wins and 11 losses. But this year, with 9 members added to the program, There is hope that production will be spread out more evenly, and it has shown in Week 1.
We have a lot of different ways that we can play. We have size, we have speed, and like Mia said, we have guys that can knock down shots now. So I think Mia's going to have an opportunity to really excel and show how good she really is.
The bench for Temple averaged a lackluster 7 points and 5 rebounds per game last season. Already this year, in the game versus St. Francis, 6 Owls scored off the bench for 21 points, not to mention the 14 rebounds. And these numbers can only take the pressure off of everything Mia Davis.
If you can't hit open shots, of course they'll pack the paint in like they did last year on me and Lex. So with us having shooters on the outside, that'll open up the floor more.
A new season means the inclusion of transfers and incoming freshmen to go with an already established core. But Coach Cardozo knows the impact these role players can have on a team that struggled to find success last season. And it helps the other starters as well, including Giselle Thomas, who actually led the team in scoring in that St. Francis win in front of 1,200 fans.
I would say it was really exciting. This is the first time I got to play in an arena with this many fans. And yeah, I had really fun. I had a lot of fun out there with my teammates.
The Owls will be back in action Saturday afternoon when they take on Bucknell at 2 p.m. inside McGonigal Hall. Guys, back to you at the desk.
The women are getting contributions from more than just preseason player of the year Mia Davis. The Owls had a 20-point score in each of the first 2 games, with FIU transfer Giselle Thomas leading the way against St. Francis. In Game 2, it was Alexa Williamson dropping 23 points, a mark she's only hit once before in her career.
We've hit our first break of the show, but don't go anywhere. Coming up, the word interim has officially been removed from the leader of the Temple field hockey team.
Plus, it was deja vu at the Link for the football team against Houston. And one former player is pushing back on social media a couple of months after splitting from the Owls. Find out when OwlSports Update returns.
It was a rainy, windy, and cold Saturday afternoon for the Temple football team to drop its 7th game of the season and 5th conference loss against the Houston Cougars. Midway through the opening quarter, Houston capitalized on a 47-yard drive into Temple territory. And heading into the half, the Owls did manage to hold the Cougars to just 10 points, but it was the 3rd quarter where the Cougars started to run with the lead. A Temple touchdown early in the 4th finally put the Owls on the board, but the Cougars answered with back-to-back touchdowns shortly after putting this one far out of reach. Houston had no problems defeating Temple, and yet another blowout loss for the Owls, 37-8.
5 straight losses, 8 straight scoreless first quarters, and 2 straight losing seasons. These streaks all grew when Houston blew the Owls out of the Link and left them wondering what there's left to play for in a lost season.
Another week, another blowout for Temple football. The 37-8 loss to Houston marked the 6th time this season Temple has lost by 25-plus points, the most since 2006 when it happened 7 times.
Obviously, we're incredibly disappointed with the outcome of the game.
There was a lone bright spot despite the lopsided defeat. The Owls came into this weekend near dead last in the country in total sacks, but the defense picked up 3 sacks and 12 tackles for loss, both season highs.
While the defense was the bright spot, keeping the Owls in it early in the first half, it was the offense that struggled, getting past midfield just once in their first 8 drives of the game.
The Owls have struggled in many areas this season, with slow starts nearing the top of the list. Temple hasn't put points on the board in the first quarter since week 2 at Akron.
This day was about our offense not playing well enough. The defense was out there the whole day.
The loss of Jaden Blue, who is 3rd in Temple history with 169 catches, was felt the entire day.
That's his choice. That's his dream. He chose to better himself, and I can never be mad at somebody to choose to better themselves for their future.
The loss guarantees the Owls finishing below 500, as well as missing out on bowl eligibility for the second time in 3 years under Rod Carey.
For a team with many holes to fill and only 6 new recruits currently committed for next season, there are major question marks regarding the culture of the program.
Joining us now over at the studio set is Inside the Nest reporter Eric Jessberger to tell us more. Hey, Eric.
Thanks, Lindsay and Luke. You may remember back in late September, Coach Rod Carey was asked about redshirt sophomore running back Iverson Clement and his role on the team. His answer was pretty quick.
Is there anything new on Iverson Clement? What's his status now?
Yeah, he's no longer with the team, so he's moving on from there.
Seems simple enough, but on Wednesday, Clement took to social media to talk about why he's no longer with Temple football. Much of his statement dealt with an argument that started during the preseason with one of the strength and conditioning coaches. Clement says this led to his suspension and ultimately ended with him being released from the team, even though he thought he was on track to return. In the post, Clement says, "We, the players at Temple, are put in weird positions because Rod Carey is now kicking/releasing players off the team for no reason or because he doesn't like your attitude." Clement has also showed several text messages over many weeks apologizing to Coach Carey that he says went unanswered. Temple football has declined to comment when we reached out. Reporting from the studio said, I'm Eric Jessberger. Lindsay and Luke, back to you at the desk.
Thank you, Eric. It's time for us to take our second break. Coming up, we touch on the only fall sport to punch a ticket to the postseason.
And the team's leader has a new title. Find out more when OwlSports Update returns in 90 seconds.
Welcome back to OwlSports Update. The field hockey team has taken the word interim away from Michelle Vatisse. She is now the head coach after guiding the Owls to the Big East tournament. The team finished with a winning record in conference play. The Owls lost to nationally ranked Liberty 4-2 in the semifinals. Following the postseason appearance, the focus turns towards building for the 2022 season. OwlSports Update's Gil Rosen has more.
A season of unexpected changes and unexpected challenges is now over. The season ended with a 4-2 loss to Liberty in the Big East tournament. It was an end to a season that started with a challenge even before the Owls took the field when they lost their head coach just a few weeks before the season opener in late August.
This year came with a lot of challenges and just, getting comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Stumbling out the gate hurt the Owls' chance to advance into the tournament, but a tight loss to Georgetown brought together a roster struggling to find identity under a new coach.
It was one of those games where we ended up talking about it, and it was just who wanted it more, and that day it was Georgetown and not us.
So the season was kind of, in my opinion, it was great. I think regardless of what wins or losses, record, whatever that kind of looks like.
It was here at the Temple Sports Complex where the Owls spent the season fighting for another Big East tournament appearance. They came up big against UConn in a 3-2 win, securing their spot in the tournament. Sadly, they lost to Liberty right away. The team will look at that game to build upon heading into next season. The Owls closed out the season at 8-11. All but 3 players will return for next season. From the Temple Sports Complex, I'm Gil Rosen, OwlSports Update.
Another week means another festive edition of the Mealy Moppert Minute. Luke and I are looking to the future to decide which teams we're most excited to watch next fall. And this time, I will go first. The women's cross-country team just recently placed 12th out of 27 teams at the NCAA Mid-Atlantic Regionals. And on top of that, their very own Michelle Joyce led the Owls with an 11th place finish. Joyce has now punched her ticket to the NCAA Championships this weekend in Tallahassee, Florida. And although Joyce is a senior, her leadership has definitely spread to the younger women on the team, and I'm excited to follow them next fall. Luke, now it's your turn to get caught by the buzzer.
Well, when looking to the future, it's all about growth, and that's what this women's soccer team has. It was a team that had 10 incoming freshmen and 2 transfers. Moa Anderson led that incoming class, earning all rookie team honors in the AAC. The young team did have some key veteran contributors as well, Emily Kavanaugh carried this squad as she became the second Temple women's soccer player to be named to the AAC first team. With the freshman gaining experience and Kavanaugh building on her resume, things are looking up for the woman. And that's how you do it, Lindsay. That's how you finish.
I like that one. That's actually kind of fun.
Now, Lindsay's favorite squad, the cross-country team, wrapped up its season at the NCAA Mid-Atlantic Regional. The men placed 9th out of 26 teams, and lead runner Joe Arthur earned the 13th spot, missing out on nationals by just 0.02 of a second. Michelle Joyce, who finished 11th for the women, will continue to represent the Cherry and White at nationals in Tallahassee, Florida on Saturday.
We're down to one last break for this duo. But when we return, we will talk all things Thanksgiving and what or who we're most thankful for in the world of Temple sports.
And a sneak peek of a brand new special when OwlSports Update returns on the other side.
Welcome back to OwlSports Update. With Thanksgiving next Thursday, there's one Temple athlete that I'm always thankful to watch. Who other than Mia Davis? I'm thankful that she was able to stay one last year so that I could cover her and her impact that she has had on the Temple women's basketball team over the past few years.
For me, I'm thankful for Julianne Kopech. In a fall where Temple athletics struggled as a whole, Kopech stepped up, her shining moment being the game winner in OT against UConn to send the Owls to the Big East tournament. But we're also thankful for our team here at OwlSports Update and the tremendous coverage they provided for all the fall sports this season.
Football's not the only sport where fans coming together before the game to tailgate.
But the volleyball team has used both the quality of its program as well as both the atmosphere of Temple's campus.
And it's here at McGonigal Hall that the Owls take to the bars.
Julianne has a busy week as she goes from Howarth Field to the Star Training Facility
to a room like this.
Orlamont's preparation has turned her into a lockdown defender for the Owls.
Out of the 11 total penalties called, 5 of them happened right here in the red zone.
Growing up as twin sisters in Georgia, both Nicolette and Imani, unsurprisingly, have had many similar interests.
We have been so incredibly lucky to have a great crew behind us this semester. A huge thank you to our classmates and volunteers. AJ, Caden, Hayden, Gil, Ismail, Jake, Joey, Carrie, both Matts, Natalie, Max, Ricky, Trevor, Nate, Nick, and Zach. A mouthful, but totally worth it.
None of this would be possible without the incredible effort from our crew, but also the leaders of our team. Our show producers Cameron DaCosta and Max Green, senior producer Haley Palmer, and executive producer Matt Fine deserve their shine for guiding our show in the right direction week after week.
Speaking of great things to come, OwlSports Update has been busy taking trips to New York, New Jersey, and Boston over the last few weeks. We are excited to announce our upcoming special, Built on Broad, 50 Years of Frank, as we celebrate NIKKI Frank's 50 years with Temple fencing. Our team of reporters will start with her days in Brooklyn, New York, and end with this fall's Temple Hall of Fame induction. Built on Broad, 50 Years of Frank. This special will finally hit the air Thursday, December 9th at noon. You can watch it live on TUTV or be sure to keep up with our social media accounts at OwlSports Update. Our own Ray Dunn will host, again, at noon on December 9th on TUTV.
This marks the end for Lindsay and me this fall, but don't forget, we still have coverage during and after the break. One final episode of Inside the Nest and OwlSports Update remain after Thanksgiving.
One last time for your favorite LM duo. For Luke Milai, I'm Lindsay Moppert. Eat lots of turkey and have a lovely Thanksgiving, everyone.